The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is Cowboys Storyline, presented by Gillette, the official shave of the Dallas Cowboys. Here's Nick Eatman.
Good morning. Welcome to Cowboys Storyline, Wednesday, February the 11th. It's the official offseason now for everybody. Everyone's in the offseason. We've got a Super Bowl winner. Seahawks get the win. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Maybe you were pulling for the NFC, pulling for DeMarcus Lawrence, against DeMarcus Lawrence, against the Patriots, whatever it is. But now it's offseason for everyone. It's time to see where this Cowboys team's going to do, what they're going to do to get better. I mean that's the goal for everyone. And obviously their offense was really good. It had to be perfect. Wasn't perfect at times, and with the defense like that, you have to you had to be almost perfect on that side of the ball. And there were times where the offense did carry them to victory, but not enough. We know that. That's not breaking news there. You guys have already been all over it on what this team needs to do to get better. That's starting with the coaching staff on that side of the ball. We've seen a lot of changes. They sound good. We'll see what they can do as far as coach these players and which players they're going to coach, because there's going to be a lot of turnover over there, as there should be. All right, 888-855-2297 is the number to call. We'll start with Brian in Kansas City like we do most of the time. Brian, what's up?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Well, I really got to give it to Sam Darnold. Talk about a man who has reinvented himself.
Right.
I mean, there's a guy who was basically forgotten about by the league. 3 years ago, he's backing up Brock Purdy, and he's basically nobody, right? The league said, forget about the first-round draft pick. We just got that one wrong, and, you could be a backup. And next thing you know, he's got I think both seasons they went 14-3, the Vikings and the Hawks last year, and just kind of an unbelievable thing to see. Mm-hmm. And he's not Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, but boy, did he reinvent himself and make himself the best version of Sam Darnold he could be. Kind of interesting to watch, I thought.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Well, and not good enough for the Vikings to keep, so he is kind of unique in that you think, yes, he's good, he wins games, he doesn't kind of blow you away with how he plays the game, and so therefore you always think you can kind of do better, get better, but yeah. I think it's funny when people try to pick who are your top 5 quarterbacks in the NFC, and I see it all over. I saw it 2 times yesterday. Who cares? Because 2 years ago, would you have had Sam Darnold in your top 12 of the NFC? Would you have had Matt Stafford even up there? You know what I mean? So I look at it from a standpoint of where Dak is. Dak's not maybe considered a top 5. Who cares? Neither is Jalen Hurts, and he won a Super Bowl. So all that matters is, are you good enough? And I think there's 8 to 10 that are good enough, and as long as you've got the right guys around you.
Yeah, absolutely. So my Cowboys question for today is, I just laughed when you said that. He wouldn't have been in your top 20.
Yeah.
No, you're right, though. He wouldn't have been. He just wouldn't have been. My Cowboys question for today is, I'm curious about, everybody knows we need defense. I'm curious whether everybody is on the same page I am with. We also need an offensive tackle. I don't think we have a starting offensive tackle right now.
Yeah.
Not a proven one. And how do people want to go about that? Do people want to give Nate a second chance, to prove that he can beat somebody out? Do they want free agency? Do they want to use one of those 2 top draft picks to pick one? And then what do you think? What do you think we should do? Personally, I think there's a Green Bay offensive tackle that's due to come up for free agency. There's 1 or 2 others. There's not a ton this year in free agency, and it's not a great draft class for it either. But that would be my first pick, I think, so that we could use the draft capital for defense. But let's get your opinion and hear what everybody else has to say. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you, Brian. I've heard a lot of people say that it's real easy just to cut Terrence Steele. You save some money there. Maybe $9 million, I think, is what I saw. And also, you could do a June 1 cut and maybe make more. Don't hold me to those numbers exactly, but I know they can save some money if you want to cut Terrence Steele. But I believe Terrence Steele's like the 24th rated offensive tackle. As far as salary goes, highest paid tackle's like 24. So, yeah, you can save money, but point is who are you bringing in, and you got to use some of that money to go get another tackle, and you want to roll the dice and get another younger guy and maybe hope to develop him or whatever. I've never been against Terrence Steele as bad as maybe others are. I think in a situation like what they had last year running the football, I think he was pretty good at that. And I think he's solid. I mean, if you want to save money and go younger and, like I said, roll the dice, go for it. But, those options you mentioned, Brian, I don't know did I even hear you say keep Tyler Guyton at left tackle? I mean, I don't even know if I heard you say that. But that's what I think the Cowboys want to do. They want him to develop and to be their left tackle. And so I think that will be – he'll have a shot, whether he's left tackle, maybe he moves to right tackle. But at number 20, I think at 12 you got to go get a defensive player. At 12, I think you still got to get a defensive player. But I wouldn't be opposed to it if you're telling me there's a guy here that could come in and start it, and he would be an offensive tackle that would start immediately. At number 20, I would be fine with that too. So I'm with you that I think that they need a little bit of help there. All right, Chris in Saratoga Springs. Chris, what's up, man? Thanks for holding.
No problem. How are you, Nick?
I'm good. You?
Not too bad. Just want to point out about Sam Darnold. I am happy for him. He's come a long way from the Jets. But the bottom line is the last 2 years he's had unbelievable defenses. And that game wasn't won, the Super Bowl, by the offense. It was won by the Seattle defense, in my opinion.
Right.
But congratulations to Sam. It's good. I'm happy for him. But defense wins championships is proven again, and that's where we need to focus, obviously, again, coming up in the draft.
Yeah.
I do want to say how disappointed, again, I am with the Hall of Fame. They need to fix it. They need to fix the process of the selection. Woodson obviously deserves to be in there. How you keep Bill Belichick off first ballot Hall of Fame it's unreal. They need to fix it. I agree with what Emmett Smith said. I heard him in a couple interviews and 100% agree with his take on the Hall of Fame. They need to fix it.
I don't know what that take is. I didn't hear what Emmett said.
He mentioned something about how Woodson belongs in, Bill Belichick belongs in first ballot, and Roger Craig's stats haven't changed in 30 years. Nothing's changed with his stats, and he hardly made the finals. It just, I don't know. I'm just disappointed. Jason Witten, I mean, I know you thought he wouldn't be first ballot, but if you look at his receptions, he's fourth in NFL history in receptions, and that's including he's a tight end, so that's including all wide receivers. In my opinion, he's one of the most complete tight ends ever to play the game. Man of the year, Pro Bowls, All Pros class through and through. He too, I think, should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. But I don't know. I just think they need to fix that.
Yeah. Well,
Woodson. I mean, you put Woodson stats up against the players that are in there. Butler or even John Lynch. Again, after he didn't make it, the class the Woodson shows is just incredible. He's the classiest person probably in the NFL I've ever seen or ever listened to. So again, I feel bad for Darren. He deserves it. He will get in. I know it. I just want it sooner than later.
Yeah.
But my Cowboy question to you today is Pickens. What as far as the franchise tag? Obviously, I think that's obviously in play. Would you consider? I would consider the non-exclusive franchise tag. What are your thoughts on that tag?
the 28 million. I would go with the highest one, highest one possible. I want the most because you get the most draft picks for it, and so if you're going to trade him, I'm not thinking that they will trade him, but give yourself the most options there.
Okay.
For sure. I mean, because I think if somebody blows you away with the trade, I think you'd listen to it. It would change your draft strategy. But I think you would certainly listen to it. This whole Pickens situation, I mean, it's going to overtake the entire offseason, and it should. I mean, because what it goes down to is another narrative of here's the Cowboys with a player that they need to re-sign. But it's not the same. I mean, this is not the same situation. And so when I hear things about, well, Jerry needs to let the agent do the talking and not get involved, I don't agree with that. I mean, you got to remember that all of these players that have been re-signed before have usually been here 4 years. Some cases, this is their second contract that they're negotiating. So Dak was here 9 years, 9 years. The Cowboys know this player. They know Dak. They know CD. They know Osa. They know these guys that they're re-signing. And they really, I mean, Pickens hasn't even been here for a full year. And so, I think that it's something where the franchise tag might even make sense more than other years, just because it does protect the Cowboys to see what kind of player he is, and they're going to argue that he doesn't deserve CD money. He's done it for 1 year. Look at his stats for his first 4 years and look at CD's stats. It's not the same, and so it's not the same on some of these other players, Jefferson, Chase, of the money they're making. Pickens did it for 1 year. I think he needs to do it again and again, maybe, to warrant that same neighborhood of contracts. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Davian in Illinois is next.
What it do, my guy?
How you doing? What's up?
Man, what's going on, man? I've been the special times the last couple weeks. I couldn't get on because I'm back at work now. So I missed the show, but I've been listening though. I watched the replay and stuff.
All right. Well, what's on your mind?
Well, man, you was talking about GP, and I'm hoping that. I mean, I know we most likely gonna tag. We already knew that, and it's kind of crazy how people try to report something that if we was hardcore, we already knew that was gonna happen like 2 months ago. But it was just like, it ain't no news to us, but, it's all good. Hopefully, put the tag on him crazy enough if he signed it and he just go try to get that 1 year to approve a deal. That'd be pretty cool. But hopefully if we can work out a deal, that'd be nice. I know it's always the next man up when they do these type of things. And, of course, he's going to try to fight to try to get as much as CD or a little bit more.
Right.
And of course, with the agent, that's what they definitely gonna try to do.
Right.
But I was wanting to ask, are we gonna hear from Christian Parker this week, or probably next week, or any whispers or anything over a press conference? I'm kind of curious to see what to get him in front of him, get some Q&A, and try to see what try to get an inkling what he's looking to try to do.
Yeah, I mean that was in the works. I thought a couple of weeks ago whether. Changed some things around here, and then Combine and not Combine, sorry, Super Bowl week happened, and then we got the Combine is coming up in a couple of weeks. I would think there would be something they would want to do, but you also don't want them to get up there and not have answers, of what is next, and also what other positions need to be filled and who you're thinking and all that. So. It probably at this point seems like they want to really complete the staff and kind of get those answers for him. So then if he is going to have a press conference, then he's got everything in front of him. That would be my take on why we haven't seen a press conference yet.
Yeah, we've been tracking it because Patrick No C been having that tracker up. So hopefully, I think it's able he down to maybe a couple more positions.
Yeah.
Of getting, I know we got to get the inside linebacker
coach,
and then and a couple more. So hopefully we can have it done by the end of this week. That'd be cool because I really do want to sit down and kind of just give us the idea of what he's looking to try to do because anything better than flus, but it's all good. Other than that, man, we got our space tomorrow night, so you know how we do.
All right.
Come on if you want to come on in and get after it.
All right.
And we'll be there.
Sounds good, man. All right, Davion, appreciate that. Appreciate the call. Let's just kind of keep this thing going here. Josh in Chicago is next. Josh, what's up?
Hey, Nick, just wanted to talk a little bit about the CD Pickens stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm all about signing Pickens long-term if we can, and even CD's comments about taking less money to make sure Pickens stays around I think are great. But with what you're saying, and just some support behind that,
Wait a second.
Yeah.
CD said what?
I thought I heard something, and I thought they talked about it yesterday on Talking, where CD said, like, hey, I'll renegotiate or something to take a little bit less.
I didn't hear that. I
Yeah.
didn't hear that. I did not hear that. What I heard is if he gets more, he gets more. That he wouldn't be worried about him getting a contract more than him. I didn't hear the part about negotiating less to keep him. No.
I'll try to find it. No, I'm not. I don't think less than Pickens. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like CD would be willing to take less of his contract.
Well, he needs to restructure his deal anyways, and that's something that has nothing to do with Pickens or any other player. I mean, he's done it when you sign a big deal and then you continue to play well and keep making Pro Bowls and All Pros or whatever, and you're justifying your contract. It's easy, especially at his age. It's easy to restructure that, keep him putting money
100%.
into it because he's worth it. If he wasn't, then you'd be like, wait a second, we might want to get out from under this. But that's not the case. And so Pickens or not, he's good to restructure. I thought what he said is, hey, if he makes it more than me, that's fine. That's just how the cycle goes, and he'd be fine with that. He wants him to get what he deserves. I don't know about taking less to make that happen, but I get what you're saying. He's being a team player, and he's saying the right things.
Yep, and I'll try to find it. But I think what you're pointing out, too, is, like, you look at a guy like Terrence Steele, right, like you're saying earlier, and people are not happy about the money he's making and the performance, right? Mm-hmm. And I think, like, Terrence Steele, sorry, this is a little bit off of what I was going to talk about.
That's fine.
But Steele he's so good in the run game, right? And even Guyton is good in the run game. It's their pass blocking that they grade out worse at. And the money, I think, is what with Steele specifically that it starts to become an issue. But I don't know. He's got one more year, and he's making a lot, and you can save some money off of a post or a pre-June 1 cut. But, that's a gap then that needs to be filled.
Right.
So with Pickens, though, I think, like, the franchise tag is great, but he's a second-round pick. We traded a third for him. And he played like a first this year, and I don't know if a team's going to be willing to give up high profile or like high picks to get George Pickens over to them because I'm not going less than a late 1 or an early 2 for him. Mm-hmm. That's what you got to hold on to talent like that, especially young talent. The other thing with Pickens that I'll just say really quick is, CD was basically out like kind of 5 games this season, right? Like leaves the Bears early, and they go 1, 2, and 1 in that stretch, and then leaves Detroit, early as well, and that game got lopsided after he was gone. So, Pickens does great, but without CD, without having both those threats on the field together at the same time, it's not the same offense.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. What was the win? I can't.
Jets. Yeah. Tie Packers and beat the Jets, lost to the Panthers and the Bears and Detroit.
And he had good moments, you know what I mean? The Packers game, he carried them back into that. I thought, but the Detroit game, like you mentioned, he was kind of in space that game. He just wasn't himself, and I think that's something you kind of have to, and that happens with receivers. It's not just Pickens. Nope. I mean, it happens. You can take a guy away from things, and it's. Now, to be fair, in that Detroit game, I mean, he wasn't doing a lot, but then all of a sudden Ryan Flanoy goes crazy.
Yeah, they were bracketing him,
and CD went crazy in the first half. So, I think I just hope that Pickens and his agent understand that this is the best situation that he's been in, and you can make the most money ever. Go, I mean. Go play for the Jets. Go play for Cleveland. Whatever it is. You don't know who your quarterback is going to be or how good it's going to be or who's on the other side or whatever it is. And I think there's something about the structure here with this offense and with the receivers and Dak and all that too. So hopefully, hopefully he kind of sees that. And I'm not saying he got to take less money, but you take a
your value.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's just he's a high value guy. Like he deserves a lot of money. He deserves top 10 money. He is definitely a top 10 guy right now with what he put out on film last year. But it's also just, what do you want too, right? I mean, look at the comments DeMarcus Lawrence made. Like, do you want rings or do you want money? That's part of it too. So
yeah. All right.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Josh. All right, let's take a break here on Cowboys Storyline. We'll be right back after this.
All right, Cowboys fans, this one's for you. Gillette's Best Shave has a new look this season, and they've got one that sticked out in Cowboys colors just for us. We're going to want to run, not walk to this one, y'all. The new Gillette Labs official Dallas Cowboys licensed razor isn't just Gillette's best shave. With 50% longer lasting blades than Fusion, it's the best a Cowboys fan can get. Get it while you can at Gillette.com/NFL. Gillette's Best Shave is also available as heated.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
Alltech Lansing has been perfecting sound since 1927, bringing you decades of audio excellence to elevate your Dallas Cowboys tailgate ritual. Equip your next pregame with the Sound Rover 180 with 6 hours of playtime, built-in microphone, multicolor light modes, and a rugged exterior that's built to last. Visit alltechlansing.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off your Sound Rover 180. That's ALTECLANSING.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off. Alltech Lansing, official audio partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Cowboys Storyline, presented by Gillette, the official shave of the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, this segment is presented by Yeti. Officially licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is available at Stadium Pro Shops, Concession, and Yeti.com. All right, let's go back to our phone lines here. Chris in San Angelo. Chris, what's up, dude?
Hey, how you doing today, Mr. Nick?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you, man. Hey, I just had a question. I was going to ask to you, in your opinion, which Cowboy player that is on the team and under contract would you think it would be the most beneficial, let's say, if they really picked their game up a notch? Like, I was thinking of, I have one in mind, but I was thinking of people like Revel and Bland. You know, Revel coming off the energy and Bland getting back to where he is, where he was. But my guy that I'm going to pick is Guyton. And I think you talked about him a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
But just think about how big that would be, right? If he came in and was just really solid.
Maximize his potential, yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
and see, because I think the other two guys, the Tylers, they're going to be fine. And the center, I think he's moving along and figure out the right tackle. But with Guyton, that could make things solid. Just want to see what you thought about that.
Well, thanks for the call, Chris. And
and before I go, sorry. Happy birthday, Irene. It was her birthday yesterday.
Okay.
Hope you had a good one.
All right. Happy birthday to Irene, of course. Maybe we'll hear from her. We have a series coming up. I think it's in April. We'll do something kind of like that, where it's I think we called it Next Man Up type thing, and it's not necessarily players that are going to start for the first time. It's just guys that need to step up, and whether they're starters or not, this is what they need from them, because you can't go and get all pros at every position and Pro Bowlers and stuff like that. I mean, you have to have some guys that really are role players, but also solid starters. But you want them to maximize their potential. I don't know if you can get a better one than Tyler Guyton as far as what they need, what they're paying for him to do, and just what they've expected him to do. So Tyler Guyton probably headlines that list. Great story, great guy, great interview, great everything. But DeMarvion Overshown, it's all good. It's a great story, but he does need to take that game to the next level. It's time. Stay healthy and be a game wrecker. He's been good at times. He's been solid at times. I understand the situation. I'm not saying anything bad about how he came back. I mean, it's a great, great story, but you do need him to stay on the field and be a really good player. And the thing is defensive coordinator, I mean, that's one thing that Christian Parker really needs to figure out is what do you do with him? Where do you play him? Keep him relatively healthy, but he's also got to be in the middle of it. I mean, he's got a unique body to be a linebacker in the middle of the defense for every play. Maybe he's an edge player. I mean, he's just a unique type of guy. Maybe he's just a full-time nickel linebacker, even though, you play a lot of nickel. So maybe you can figure out a way but he's got to be a guy too that takes his game to another level. But that's a good question. And there's a lot of guys like that. There's a lot of guys. You can't pay everybody. They're not all going to be making $10 million a year. You have to, and that's why your rookies have to hit. You have to have guys that are relatively cheap that can play at a very high level. Rob in Vegas is next. Rob, what's up?
Hey, Nick, how's everything?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. We're talking about George Pickens, and I love George Pickens. I love his attitude, and I think he's a playmaker. But my fear with signing him, $30-something million a year is I could see Jerry saying, I signed Pickens to this big deal, and now I can't spend on defense. And let's face it, as good as Pickens is, he's a luxury. He's not a necessity. We just watched two teams, back-to-back Super Bowls. The blueprint is play really good defense, run the ball, and all your quarterback has to do is make plays in a timely manner. Yeah. And you can win. And that's what the Cowboys, I hope, take away from this. Because there are teams out there, we know who they are, that they would sign Pickens and then still go and bust the budget in free agency on defense. And my fear is he won't do that. He'll just say, we're bringing in a new DC. He's going to change everything. And I'm sorry, I don't care who the DC is. You don't get any more talent on this defense. You'll be right back where you started. So that's my only fear. I would rather, if they could, I would love to see them franchise him. And then if somebody wants to trade for him, maybe a team in Las Vegas to bring in a top-notch defender and then build on that in the draft and even add more, like you said, linebacker, whatever, and build this defense up. I think with just C.D. Lamb and what we have, if you bring back Williams as the running back, I think you could compete. You know, we've seen Dak. Dak is good enough. He doesn't need two great wide receivers. We've seen him be successful with just one and other guys. So that's my only fear. I would love to have Pickens, but I'm just a little skeptical of Jerry. I've seen it too many times where he'd be like, that was $150 million, whatever it was, it's going to be. And then he just says, he brings in these third-tier free agents, and he just says, well, my new coaching staff will fix the rest. And it's like, no, it don't work that way. Yeah.
Well, he had some interesting comments that came out of the Super Bowl week, and this is that time of year. This is what's tough. And thanks for the call, Rob. Awesome stuff as always. And I think that's the biggest fear that a lot of fans have is that, you want Pickens, but You had Pickens last year, and it wasn't enough on defense. So what are you doing to fix that? And it can't just be a 34-year-old defensive coordinator that's never called plays. And I think I really like the move for Christian Parker, but I don't think you can just lean on that and say, oh, it's going to fix everything. You can't do that. But Jerry had some interesting comments about changing his ways. I mean, we haven't really heard that before. Then how he's got to change. If he doesn't change, then this team's not gonna get better. This franchise isn't gonna get better. Those are comments that you haven't heard before. Again, why this is tough, why shows in February and early March are tough is that nothing's happening. All you're going off is what people say. And you're right, Rob. We've seen it, heard it all before. All I can say is I don't think that's happening this year. I really don't. I don't think that they're going to just do some, bargain hunting type free agents and all that. They'll do some of that, and some of it works. You think about some of the guys they've got. Some of those guys have been good, but I think that they are going to be more aggressive than they've ever been in the offseason. I don't know. I'm not just going to say free agency because we've seen trades. We saw it happen some last year, and I think Shoddy helps with this. I really do. I think Shoddy's a big part of it too. He's aggressive. And he's he's not demanding, but he knows what he wants, and I think he's got some say in some things, and I think it's going to be a different offseason. I really do, and it already has been as far as things we've seen that haven't been, this is the way they always do it from a coaching situation standpoint of the guys they bring in and how much interviews they've done and how quickly they moved and all that. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens with the Pickens thing and all that. But just remember this, and you guys know this. Just remember that the Cowboys would love to sign these players, just like they would have loved to have signed Micah. They would have loved to sign Dak. They would, but don't we see now why the Micah thing didn't happen? I mean, Jerry's playing the game. Okay, this guy makes 39.5. 40's the bar. They didn't get it done. Myles Garrett got 40. Okay. Well, it looks like Micah's going to have to be 40.5 or 41.5. Can't we see why it didn't happen with the Packers signed him for 47? You would have crucified him for that. And so there's a reason why some of these things aren't happening because of the number. You've got to negotiate it to get to the right number. No different than Jake Ferguson, Tyler Smith. I mean, those guys had contracts that were really high. You got to negotiate it and get it down to it. So anyways, I believe it's going to be a different offseason, but I totally understand if everyone's kind of looking in the side eye like, we'll see, because we will. We will see, and we'll also see what our definition is on big moves and splashy moves and things like that. But I have a feeling, the Cowboys are going to be, somewhat active in free agency. But, here's the thing, and I'll say this before we get back to the phone lines, and I know Dylan's going to have some good things to say. Dylan will be next, but hold on just a second. Is that, you want the Cowboys to go out and be active in free agency, and if we say, you know what, they did. They signed the number one free agent out there. Just so happened to be George Pickens. Does that count? Because for most fans, it won't. It doesn't count. And I've used this analogy all the time. Kids want a new toy. They don't want the toy that they already have. That's not fun. They'll play with it sometimes, but that's not fun. I want the new toy. And so the Cowboys are probably going to sign. They're going to keep the number one free agent on all of the market and every team, but that's not what's going to define what this team is and what the fans think of a good offseason is. It's can you get multiple guys in that? But they are going to go get the number one free agency. He just happens to be right here, and they spent a third-round pick a year ago to get him. So let's not forget that. But I still think they're going to get more players from the outside than what we've seen in the past. All right, Dylan, Northport, Florida, what's up?
Hey, man, you've been practicing your Portuguese?
I haven't. I have not. I just hope you know what? I just hope I'm allowed to be on the trip. And I mean that. That's not tongue-in-cheek. I mean that. I hope I'm allowed to go. I don't want to assume anything. So, yeah.
I thought that was a given. I thought you'd definitely be there.
I don't know if anything's a given, I would like to be there. And but if it's a regular season game, I would hope to be there. But as far as Portuguese, no, I'm not Really. Wasn't it the Eagles that didn't even leave the hotel last year? I mean, like, so I don't know. It's a different place, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. We haven't talked about that yet. Cowboys going to Brazil to play. We don't know who they're going to play. I think I know who they're going to play, but who would you think, Dylan? Who do you think they're going to play?
I think it's going to be. I'm trying to look at regions. We talked about this in our space last week. We spent like 30 minutes talking about it too. Looking at regions and distance and time and all that, I was thinking a Southern team. I know the Bucs are on the schedule as a home game for the Cowboys, so I was thinking maybe Tampa Bay. But I mean, it could also be a divisional game. But that's obviously a longer trip for those guys in the Northeast. So I don't know. My guess was the Bucs. But what was your guess? Can you
Baltimore.
Say?
That would be my guess.
Yeah.
I just think.
Wow.
I could just see the poster right now with the Lamar and Dak. I mean, if you really want to try to promote the game over there, man, what a couple of great superstars that would be. But you're right, the flights. I mean, you know how it is when you get to that point of the flight. I mean, yeah, it's a long flight.
An extra couple hours.
Yeah,
yeah.
But what were they saying last year? Green Bay and Philly. Yeah, I don't know. When you think about the league and what they've done and what their attempts to go and make this thing national, they want to play in every country. They want to play on every night in the week. Those are the things that I don't think matter a lot for them. But I don't know. Whatever.
So, no, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the league matters as much as we maybe think they should.
But. I mean, I would have liked it to be San Francisco, but it's not going to be if they're going to Australia. But I truly believe the Rams were cheering for when they play and they're playing the 49ers in Australia. That's perfect for them because they're tired of seeing their own stadium full of red.
Yeah.
And I know the Cowboys would, or don't necessarily disagree with that. So, when you give up a home game, fine, but you're giving up a game that's also going to be half of the opposing fans. So I don't know if
it kind of
any
sucks
other
for the
place.
Cowboys too, because they have obviously the Turkey Day kind of hustle there every year, those 3 games. So they're going to have this, and I'm assuming this will be game 1 of the year, the opening day game. But then so they got that, which is fine. It is what it is. But then they also have kind of that misfortune in the middle of the season every year, and the Turkey Day, 3 games in 10 days or whatever the heck that is every year.
They don't have to do that. That's the thing, that the league doesn't have to give you that other Thursday game. That's what I don't understand. They don't have to.
But they keep doing it.
They do, and they didn't the year before. But that's a joke. The Cowboys really they could put their foot down on that one and just say we don't. I mean, you don't have to have the back-to-back Thursday games. You don't have to play 4 games on a Thursday in the whole season. Now, I'm not so sure that the Brazil game will be the first game of the season.
You don't think? Wow.
I'm not sure about that. Where's the Australia game going to go? I mean, that's one that could be the first game. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I'm not going to even try to figure that out. All right.
Yeah. Okay. To my actual point.
Chris, do you have a point on this? Chris Beam, I think.
I do have a little quick point. Okay, the last 2 Brazil games. Remember, the Green Bay Philadelphia game was actually 2 years ago. A lot of people don't realize that because Philly opened the season with us last year. The Brazil game last year was Kansas City against the Los Angeles Chargers, and that was September 5th, which was the Friday after the opener that we played in. So, in comparison. So, the 2 games in Brazil were played on September 6th and September 5th. Both games were the beginning of the season.
And then, okay, that's good to know.
I'm just saying the last 2 in a row has been the beginning of the season.
That's good to know. And then that definitely could happen. But Australia, that's also a time. They may figure that out too. Maybe they play 2 games.
I was going to say, I could see them doing, just
2 games Friday.
Exactly, 2 games because the time difference is going to be crazy different.
That Australia one's tough. That's a killer for sure. So talking about George Pickens, I'm not going to grade Jerry Jones on a curve just because he has or hasn't done things before. Like we all know, they can sign or extend or whatever George Pickens. Plus, they can go play in free agency. It's just a matter of how they want to rearrange the money to do that. The NFL, I wouldn't be afraid to restructure as many guys as it makes sense to do because the NFL, 5 years now, they've had a 10% year-over-year growth as far as the cap goes. And it's looking to continue. And I'm sure the Cowboys have finance guys that can forecast all that and know what that looks like down the road. But I mean, we got 5 years of it. And so, $10 million today isn't the same as $10 million 3 or 4 years from now in comparison to the cap percentage that costs you. Yeah. So if the Cowboys want to take advantage of this window with Dak, do it all, man. Why get rid of one key piece to go try and add a key piece on the other side when you can have all of it? And I'm hoping what you're saying, they're playing big in free agency. I hope that's true, and I hope they don't have to lose items in order to do that. It just wouldn't make sense to me when you can have it all,
Yeah. And you're right, Dylan. And the key is this is where you really want to see the Cowboys do something and be somewhat aggressive, because yes, you could just tag them and say this is a placeholder, cool, but it's a $28 million placeholder at the time when you could maybe go and do some other things. And so that's why you want to try to get ahead of it, because if they could sign him to they could sign him to a $32 million a year and save way more money than a $28 million tag.
And I think that's what the number is going to be, because you look at T. Higgins, he got paid 28. You add the 10% year-over-year multiplier, right? The little tax burden there for the cap acceleration or the cap extension, and that you're at 32 mil. So I think it is going to be 32 mil, the dollar figure. I don't think it's going to get paid more than CD, which is 34 per year. But you can backload the hell out of that thing, man. And then you can restructure it next year, add some void years. You can go sign yourself a Trey Hendrickson or whatever you want, right? And you can do stuff in free agency and not have to pay that piper for years down the road. And it's not like a credit card. It's easier because a credit card accrues interest. It's like the opposite. You're losing. It costs you less to pay for it down the road because you're working with a set figure. It's not like you get charged interest. It's the opposite. So I would like them to do what they need to do for a change in the offseason. And I give them a lot of credit for a lot of things, but we all know they don't play well in the offseason for free agency oftentimes. I just would like to see a season or two where it truly is budget busting all in and just see what the hell happens. I mean, you got 3 years left with Dak. Let's just see what happens.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm totally with you on that. And it would be so great. I mean, think about it now with Osa. Thanks for the call, Dylan. Is there anything else? Or are you good?
No, that's it, brother. I'll see you later.
Good to hear from you. Last year they signed Osa. I want to say it was a few days, maybe even a week before the start of free agency. I thought that was kind of different. Would love to see something like that with Pickens, because you really can be flexible. If they did that, if they did sign him, even to a big contract, if they signed him, I mean, you could tag him. The tag window is February 17th, I believe, March 2nd, March 3rd, something like that. Free agency doesn't really start till March 11th. March 11th is the first day of free agency. I think March 9th you could start to legally tamper and start doing negotiations and stuff like that. But still, you could tag them and then still give you a couple weeks or so to try to figure out what a market might be and what a number might be. But getting a deal done like that would still give you some flexibility. And if they did that, then I think that that it would be rather clear that they are going to try to be a little bit more aggressive to do something. So I'm excited for it. Hopefully, it's what I've kind of been hearing and gut instincts and stuff like that. It says things are going to be different, and that's kind of what I hope. All right, Erwin in Colorado, you've been holding a while. Erwin, what's up, man?
Hey, Nick, how's it going?
Good, you?
Good, doing good. Hey, just a couple of things. I think we're all kind of hoping that Jerry and Steven are, aggressive in free agency and hopefully bring in a couple of impact defensive players. It's not really their thing, but hopefully, things change. And then if they do that, then we kind of all know that, they have that 12 and 20 pick, and hopefully they'll use that on defense, and we'll see. But and the other thing you mentioned earlier in the show, something about Christian Parker, what he would do with Overshown. I kind of think that these guys, when they're coaching against them, and I don't really remember how many years Parker's been with Philadelphia, but I know he's seen him a couple of times, maybe 4 times or so. He's probably thinking, I don't know what you think, that they see these players, well, man, I would really love to have this guy, thinking how they would use him if they had like Overshown on their team. And I'm kind of wondering that during the interview process, do they, like Jerry and them, ask them, how would you use these players if you were to become the coach? And What do you see in visions of those types of players?
Yeah, I think what you do is you talk about, what do you know about the personnel here? What are what excites you about this job and this defense and things like that? And that probably allows that coach to kind of mention some of those things. It also lets you know like how much homework he's done, things like that. I don't know this, but man, if I was doing an interview with a guy that you didn't really know a lot about, and he comes in and starts talking about that what Revel could do and maybe Shamar James or something like that, then you're like, okay, this guy, he's studying what we've got here and obviously really wants this job and really knows how to kind of move some of these pieces and parts around. So yeah, that's what I would think. And they everyone says that it was by far the best interview of all the candidates. By far, Christian Parker was the best.
Hey, one more thing, Nick, real quick. Is it true that Jerry Jones, well, I don't really want to say it like this, he kind of bent the knee to the commissioner to lose a home game to play in Brazil so he could potentially get another Super Bowl in Dallas? Is that kind of how that works? Or?
That's how that works. I mean, that is how that works. I mean, like you don't give up home game. That's what's happened over the last few years is that you have to give up some a home game to even be in the discussion for that. So, yeah. I think for the Cowboys, and it works too when you have 9 versus 8. So, for the Cowboys, he kind of he fought it long enough. But then again, he also got a spot where it sounds like capacity can be well over 100,000. So, maybe they'll make up for it in other ways. But yeah, I sure would like to see a Super Bowl back here, and maybe not the worst ice storm in the history of Texas on the same week. But,
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Nick.
Sure. All right. Good stuff there from Irwin. Let's go to JR in Avondale before we go to break. JR.
Hey, man, what's going on? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. Hey, 212 days to the first Sunday of NFL football.
Okay, well, what about the first Thursday? What about the Friday?
I'm just saying that the first Sunday, because if it's less if it's a Thursday or Friday, it's more if it's a Monday. So that's just a general number.
Sure.
So 212 days, and we're watching football again. So that's the good news. That's the good news.
Yep.
Hey, Dylan kind of hit everything I wanted to talk about free agency, and I just don't believe the Cowboys can get enough help with this draft. And I don't want to see them sitting there at 12 and the music stop and they don't have a chair to sit in because all the defensive guys are gone because there's been a run. So free agency, of course, you got to get edge help, got to get linebacker help and cornerback help, and that way that's going to free them up to pick better in the draft. Because if some of those impact guys aren't there at 12, they got to move back if they can find somebody to move back with. Yeah. But I don't want to see them draft somebody they're in overdraft the 12 spot. But I listened to one of the other shows, and I can't remember who brought it up, but that Dante Fowler, they spent $6 million on him, and he was the most they spent on an outside free agent in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of tells you kind of how their strategy's been. And I hope that changes. And I'm not saying go out there and pay a bunch of money for the guy in Cincinnati or trade for the guy in Vegas, but you got to find some of these good pass rushers before you go into the draft with that not being,
where
you're not reaching for somebody. And, of course, bringing back Clowney. Anyway, that's all I got. I'll let somebody else talk. So
right.
Have a great day, and go Cowboys.
All right. A lot of stuff there. That's what the Cowboys' belief has been, that they believe that this free agency has been kind of a place where you overspend. And I liked Dorrance Armstrong when he was here. I thought he was a good, solid player, and he was really good, when Mike was on the other side. And Washington paid him $15 million a year, and he's been solid. He also could be a cap casualty this year, because just that contract. He's a good, solid player, but that's another example. You mentioned $6 million for Fowler. It really wasn't worth it, and that wasn't even a lot of money for a guy like that. But it didn't prove to be worth it. And you got to be careful because even $15 million. I hope people don't think I'm picking on Dorrance Armstrong. I just use that as an example a lot because I think it's a good one about guys that let's really dissect why you were making the plays that you were making, and when you go there, are you going to be an impact player at $15 million? And it's just weird how good solid defensive ends that are versatile that can play some special teams. That's what the going rate is there. And running backs, you can be an all pro running back and make that or even less. So that's just kind of you got to be careful in how you spend this stuff. All right, let's go to break. Let's be right back after this.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
We got big personalities. We got big hair, big belt buckles. We got fans all across this big state and enemies in every other one. We even got a big star on the 50-yard line. Smirnoff knows football is a we thing, an experience that is best enjoyed together. With good drinks and good folks home or away, we rally together. We cry together. And we always rally cry together because, most of all, we got big love for them boys. Smirnoff, we do game days. Please drink responsibly.
Back to Cowboys Storyline, presented by Gillette, the official shave of the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, Chris, we might need to go to this. Lone Star Smokeout back in Arlington, April 24th to the 26th. Headliners.
You cannot go.
Why not?
Draft weekend. 24th is Saturday of the draft.
I'm going. I'll go on Sunday then. Watch the headliners like Riley Green, Shabuzi, Coetzel, and more. This 3-day outdoor country music festival. Enjoy barbecue from some of the best pit masters in the country. Get your tickets now at SeatGeek.com, the official ticketing partner of AT&T Stadium. All right, I'm just going to go head-to-head with the draft. All right, good stuff. Let's go to Sergeant Sue in Fort Worth.
At ease, everybody. How you doing, Nick?
What's up?
Hey, man, that was funny. Chris came in like your dad. Like, no, sir, you're not going to that.
You can't go to that.
He could go.
Oh, I can't.
Now,
go.
Derek would be like, where you at?
I'd be like,
who do we draft?
Who do we pick?
Actually, you could go on Friday because we have no picks.
Cowboys drafted Shabuzi. So it's not a name I thought I would say twice on this show today, but good stuff.
Hey, man.
All right.
Yeah, man. Hey, I'm glad I was able to get in today, man. This once a week is a little tough. I appreciate, the fact that a lot of people are still calling in and stuff. But what I'm going to say is it's like you mentioned earlier, man. It's like there's only so much that we could talk about around these times, and even the things that we can talk about are going to be a little speculative. But I've been preaching this for a while, whether it be here or in the spaces. But I think that Jerry and Co. are definitely moving differently, and it's not everything worked out perfectly, you know what I mean? But they were more aggressive last offseason, you know what I mean? Bringing in some free agents, you know what I mean? And bringing in Pickens and stuff. And, like I said, some of the linebackers didn't work out or whatever, you know what I mean? The cornerback didn't work out. But they were more aggressive, in my opinion. They were way more aggressive during the trade deadline. You got a staple on defense. As Dylan used to say, you had no bones on defense. They went out. They got a bone on defense that we could build around. And I keep thinking about, what Jerry said on 105 Through the Fan earlier in the season. He said, I have a natural urgency because of my age. My immediate tomorrows are a big thing to me. And the way he's been talking, the way he's been moving, to me, I mean, of course, like guys like Rob and rightfully so have more history to believe what they believe. And that is that, there may be a built-in excuse already that they're not going to go out and trade for guys or maybe spend more money. There's more history that shows that they are more likely to be right than I am. But I'm just saying my immediate bias, my immediate, instinct right now or feeling is that they are moving differently. And I feel like Shoddy has brought a bit more aggression, in my opinion, especially during like the coaching hiring process and stuff like that. And I think they've even mentioned that, which is really awesome because, I was told he was just a puppet, and I was told he was missing some of his male anatomy, but apparently not, man. This guy's coming in, and he's calling some shots. So that's what's keeping me positive. That's what's keeping me hopeful for, the season going forward in this offseason, man. So we'll definitely see. Also, again, happy belated birthday to Irene. Thank you for all that you do. You definitely help this show continue to move as well. Nick, appreciate you, brother.
Thanks. He did just say that, didn't he? All right, good stuff. And yes, happy birthday to Irene. I don't think she's probably just partying and stuff like that. She's like, no, I don't have time for the show today. I tell you what, though, if it was on a different time or a different day, she would have made sure that to get everyone involved. Yeah, again, all we can say is we think or we hope or both that things are going to be different this offseason, and one big way to do it is to sign Pickens, and I don't know how risky that move is. I mean, all moves are. I mean, you think about that second deal. Trayvon Diggs wasn't the same player. I mean, what was the reason? Was it the injuries? Was it the money? Was it the money and the injury? Whatever it was, he just wasn't. He wasn't the same. I think, though, there was a time, I would say a year and a half ago, where you could say these these contracts that they are signing aren't really working out. I mean, if you looked at, I would say a year and a half ago, you'd go back to the previous 4 or 5, you'd say, well, we're getting our money worth from Steele. Probably not really. Diggs, no. Donovan Wilson, not really. Malik Hooker, no. What they paid for Zach Martin again, maybe, but of course that was the end of his career here. Dak, you could argue no. I mean, you're never going to, if you don't make championship games or Super Bowls, you can always argue that it's too much. But and then it started to shift, and I think the last few, I mean, CD, I think that has been a good contract. I think Dak's even at $60 million. I mean, look, Dak had one of his best years of his career in year 10. So, you look at some of the other guys. I think Tyler Smith still had a good season. Jake Ferguson made the Pro Bowl. I mean, I feel like I'm missing someone else. I mean, as far as Osa, still up for grabs on that one. But I think what my point is, I think you're starting to see a little bit of a turn in some of the new contracts that we've seen, guys that have played pretty well after the fact, because there was a time when it certainly wasn't looking that way. All right, Rick in Massachusetts next.
Hey, Nick.
Hey, Rick.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right. It's got more snow, but that's about it. But the weigh-in on the offensive tackle type thing is that I think they just keep it the same and just running back what they have and use the draft picks just to go with defense and free agency, pick up defensive players and stuff like that. But and restructure, everything. But as far as the picking situations, I think they'll use it as a placeholder, have them sign before. Hopefully before in the free agency or the draft or whatever, to get it done and over with. Yeah. And CD just talking about restructuring his contract, not getting less pay, but he doesn't care if Pickens gets more, but as long as he just restructured, I'm fine.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if I even believe that. I mean, it's great to say that, CD. I don't know if I even believe that. I mean, this all sounds good. Sign him early, sign Pickens early, but what we don't know is that if they have any conversations at all, the starting point could be $40 million a year. It could be 40. It could be because Chase is making something like that, so that could be the starting point, which is, I think, crazy. And so if that is the case, then now we know why it's going to be a little bit more time to get this thing resolved. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't know.
Because CD was thinking down the road, well, Pickens gets $1 million more than me. When it's my turn, I'm going to get more than him when my time comes. So
right, and that's kind of the way those things work. But I just Pickens has done it. I'm not saying he's a one-year wonder because he's been a good player. I mean, for Pittsburgh, I mean, enough where Cowboys traded a third-round pick for him, hoping that he would have, hit that stride, which he did. But I still don't know if one really good season should make you at the top of the market. I don't know. But then again, you also pay for what the guy's going to do, not necessarily what he has done. So that's why this thing is tricky.
Okay, thank you. Have a nice
All right, Rick.
day.
Have a good one. Let's go to Lester. Lester in Minnesota. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, Nick?
You all right?
Yeah, man. Ooh.
What?
Hey, Dylan kind of took all the words right out of my mouth.
Dang, Dylan.
I've always. Hello?
I said, yeah. I mean, Dylan did that to somebody else too. He just took all the points. Well, it's all right.
Yeah, I mean, you can restructure, and like I said, there's many ways to sign the people you need. But again, I want to go back to, I think we need to go into free agency and get a middle linebacker that is experienced, that can read, cover, and tackle. I mean, that's kind of like the quarterback of your defense. So I think we need that. That's what I would start with first.
Mm-hmm.
And then, just build a defense from around that, man. And then as far as Pickens is concerned, I mean, if it's astronomical amount of money, of course not. Of course, probably not paying $50 million a year or whatever, $40 million. But if it's within reason, and go ahead and sign the man, pay him, and restructure and do all the things that Dylan was saying. I mean, we don't have to go through that anymore. But like I said, there's many ways to do things.
Yeah.
Go Cowboys! That's all I got. What you got, Nick?
All right. Well, I've been talking for a while, so I feel like I've been throwing a lot of my points out there too. But I think that you got to remember that, on the offensive side of the ball last year, I think those guys had a vision, Clayton Adams and obviously Shoddy, but they had a vision of some of the players that they wanted to bring in and how they wanted to utilize certain guys. And that's what, I think is going to happen. Obviously, it should happen with Christian Parker and these new coaches that you see on defense. And, there's guys out there that are probably under the radar free agency wise that, if somebody does a list of the top 100 or whatever, and they might have their eye on number 76, whatever that is. I don't even know. I'm just saying that might be somebody they're like, this guy, I think we can get him for pretty good, contract, not too expensive. I'd love to play him like this. And we've seen it before, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I think you have to point out that credit the Cowboys for getting George Pickens for a third-round pick. And then the next paragraph is that they also traded for Kyer Elam, who didn't finish the season. They traded for Kenneth Murray, who was the team's leading tackler, but also the most criticized human being I think I've ever heard from any fan base. And he just wasn't, a good fit. But that's how bad it was, is he wasn't very good last year and was the best option that that coaching staff thought was out there that needed to play. So they traded for him. They traded for Joe Milton. They signed Dante Fowler. That didn't really work out either. They signed Jack Sanborn. That didn't work out either. So they brought guys in. Some of them work, some of them don't. 2 years ago they brought Mingo in, and that still hasn't done anything. So that's the point. They also signed Javonte Williams, and that was good. So they're going to make some moves in free agency, and some of them are just not going to work. Some of them will. So we'll see. Hopefully you want to hit more hits than misses. All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this up. The lines are empty. It's a good time to just end the show. It's been a good full hour, a little bit more than that, but we got our 12 calls. You guys, are bringing it today. You got a lot of good opinions. It sounds like Dylan brought most of them, but you got to be able to pivot after that. But good stuff from everyone. We'll do it again next Wednesday. Might have a different look next Wednesday. We'll see. Stay tuned for that. We're trying some different things around here. Don't want to give it too much away, but more work for Chris Beam to do for sure, because he certainly doesn't seem to be working enough. All right. Good show, guys. For Chris Beam, I'm Nick Eatman. See you next week on Cowboys Storyline.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!